What's going on, everybody? We're back today with another top 5. Be sure to watch until the end. I can say it gets pretty wild. At any moment throughout the video, if you find something interesting, click the thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. It helps the channel and supports more content that you want to see in the future. Now, let's cover the top 5 deadliest pandemics in history. Number 5. HIV and AIDS, 1891 to present day. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, grabbed the attention of doctors in the early months of 1981. HIV is an extremely sneaky virus that takes decades to rear its ugly head. In the early stages, the symptoms don't get much worse than your average flu before returning to normal life. Little does the HIV-infected person know, over the next couple of years, or even sometimes decades, their body is slowly turning against them. Down the road, HIV turns into AIDS, or acquired immune deficiency syndrome, which weakens the immune system of the body to dangerous levels. HIV was first reported in 1981 when doctors began to tilt their heads in confusion to the deaths that seemed to be at the time completely random and out of control. HIV is believed to have originated in the southern parts of Cameroon through wild chimpanzees. To this day, over 35 million lives have been claimed by AIDS and counting. Number 4. Plague of Justinian, 541 to 542 AD. Imagine over 5,000 people dying per day, millions infected in less than a year. For the Byzantine Empire, this nightmare was a reality. Unfortunately, Justinian the Great didn't handle this situation according to his name. To make matters worse, he raised taxes and began to rewrite the tax code due to his buildings and projects falling behind schedule. Common symptoms of the plague were your normal fever, headache, chills, stomach pain, and swollen lymph nodes. However, many reported more severe symptoms such as delusions, nightmares, and for some, comas. The plague was believed to have spread initially through fleas in either China or India, then transported to the valleys of Egypt through common trade routes. In 541, Egypt reported their first cases, and by 542, the plague had spread as far north as England. The plague of Justinian took the lives of almost 50 million people. 3. The Spanish flu, 1918 to 1919. The Spanish flu, laterally known as H1N1, originated in 1918 through military personnel. Experts estimate roughly 1/3 of the Earth's population became infected with the virus at some point. There were a couple of confusing statistics that are still unanswered to this day. First, the mortality rate was oddly high in people less than 5 years old, between 20 to 40 years old, and over 65 years old. It was never a very well understood virus, and the prevention was fairly lackadaisical due to the sheer lack of knowledge from the medical force. The world resorted to non-pharmaceutical methods of prevention such as isolation, quarantine, personal hygiene, surface cleanliness, and limiting public gatherings. Sounds familiar in 2020, huh? The virus took the lives of over 50 million people around the world, with over 675,000 of those deaths occurring in the United States. Number 2. Smallpox, 1500 BC to 1977. The origin is completely unknown, and the first case possibly dates as far back as 1500 BC, where historians found medical writings that included vague descriptions of smallpox from ancient India. It remained a deadly disease for thousands of years, with the last reported medical case coming in October 1977. The death rate with smallpox was frightening, killing over 30% of those who contracted it. Early symptoms start with vomiting and a fever, while small sores begin to fester around the mouth and rashes break out on the skin. After just a few days, the rashes turned into bumps with a small dent in the middle filled with fluid. As the body tried to heal, it would scab over the bumps and they would fall off, leaving the body scarred and marked. Oftentimes, those who survived the disease were left permanently blinded. The disease flared up throughout history in random outbreaks. In the 18th century Europe, over 400,000 people died from the disease every year. Over 300 million people fell victim to the disease in the 20th century alone. In the last 100 years of its existence, claimed the lives of over 500 million people. Number 1. Black Death. A name like Black Death doesn't get awarded to any 6-month cold. The Black Death arrived in Europe in October 1347. 12 ships docked in Sicily after a long trip to the Black Sea. Excited family members ran down the docks, only to be met with a horrifying surprise. Most of the sailors that were aboard the ships were dead, and those that weren't were covered in nasty black boils and extremely ill. The authorities quickly sent the ships away, but to no avail. In 5 short years, Black Death claimed the lives of over 20 million Europeans. As more research was done on Black Death, it's believed to have originated as far back as 3000 BC in Europe. The most terrifying thing about this plague was the reckless, contagious nature it carried. Many would say simply by touching clothes you'd be infected, which led to extreme difficulty for any worldwide health organizations to stop the spread of the virus. Due to this, many people fled their cities to find safety on the countrysides and open fields, but even there had no luck. It affected wild animals such as cows, sheep, goats, pigs, and even chickens. There was no escaping Black Death. The scary part? It still exists. Around 3,000 cases of the Black Death plague are reported by the World Health Organization every year. This plague wiped out almost 50% of Europe's population. It took them over 200 years on the continent to recover. To this day, the estimated deaths are upward of 200 million. That's pretty wild. Pandemics are nothing to take lightly. What do you think? Do you find any of these as interesting as we did? Let us know down in the comments. If you liked the video or you learned something, take 6 seconds to support the channel by clicking the thumbs up to help with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel for more crazy top 5s. Hit the notification bell to get a little heads up anytime we post a video. With everything going on in today's society, be sure to stay home, stay safe, and have an awesome day. We'll see you guys in the next one.